good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from in the world. My name is Bernie. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm part of the Card Creators Plus team alongside Tammy and Stephanie. Today I am making a birthday card for my daughter. The template will be in our Facebook group, which is called the Card Creators Plus with a plus symbol, and everything you will need to make it is in there. And I'm going to go away, get all of my pieces together, come back, and then show you how to make the card. So here's the template and everything for the card. As I mentioned, everything will be in our Facebook group, the Card Creators Plus. So I'm calling it an angled trifold card. So you can see it's a funny shape. It started off as an 11-inch piece of paper, and it's got 3 sections. So this one's 3.5 and 7.5. And then the outside 2 pieces, so the middle bit is 4 inches. So that's basically our card. And then all we're really doing is adding mats and layers to it, and a sentiment, and just some other. I've also got a belly band. This is cut from two 12-inch pieces. So for my some of the paper, I had some 12-inch paper left over, and this was also a 12-inch piece of cardstock. So I've got I don't even know what that is. I just sort of went with, it's 1 1/4-ish, the blue, and then the pink is a little bit over 1/2 inch. So it really doesn't matter. I just went with what I had. And then I've glued them together. Once my card's together, I will then work out where my score lines are going to go. So I'm just leaving that piece aside for the moment till we get going. So here's the inside of our card, and then the outside of the card gets formed. So I've got 2 score lines. So I'm just going to fold them over gently, and then I'll just get my bone folder. So there's the one side, and then the other side also gets, actually I think I just need to score that again. It's not very deep. So it's a 3.5-inch score line. I'm just going to do that a bit stronger. And that basically is our card. So we've got our 3 pieces. Now, this may be called something different. Cards have been around for a very long time. I know Stephanie mentioned she's got a book, and I think it relates back to the early 2000s. And it was a hard book that's got plenty of card designs in it that Stephanie has. And back then, there might have been a card that this may have actually had a different name. Over time, people have changed the names. So special card folds aren't new, and people that say, oh, look at that lovely card that someone's designed, it basically isn't. We're all just getting inspiration from some really old cards, and adding different things. Back a long time ago, there wouldn't have been as many embellishments, and it would have been just basically paper and that. So I'm calling it an angled trifold card. So now I've got the inside of my card, and these 2 pieces here form the outside. So what I've also got, I've got some angled. So these are, again, the mats and layers are all in will be in the template. So this is the outside of my card, and that is going on the front. So I had some floral paper that I created. I put some beforehand. I've gone ahead and put some glossy accents. Let me see if I can get a better, there. So you can see the glossy accents in the middle of the flowers. Now, I know I've mentioned before, and I know that but for those that don't know, I've already done these ones. You can see they've got a border around them. So this is just an alcohol marker. This one is actually called magenta. Now it's got 2 sides. It's got a fine side and a broad side. I just go with the broad, and I just get my piece of paper, and I use the broad tip, and I just go along the edges. Just for those that aren't aware, you don't have to use inking, or I have got some inks that I could use some, and there you go. It's just lifted. So it's now just given it a bit of pop. So this one I'm putting, so I've got a embossed piece that is going on this side. Actually, I think I folded my card the wrong way. Does it matter? No, I was going to put that on that side. That's okay. So this embossed piece here is just going on, and I'm not putting a top on this. I'm leaving it as a blank, just the pink, just to give it some, just the embossing side of it. So I'm just going to get my glue and put it. No, I was right. It is that side. Now that I've looked, I've got the weave of the paper. So we'll put it on this side. And again, because it's got the embossing, just make sure that the glue is going in all the crevices, just to make sure it sticks down to the mat. So this is, it is a layer, but I'm calling it a mat because I'm not putting anything on the top of this one today. And then that is going on here, just like, there you go, just there. And there is the front right of our card. And on this side, I'm then now putting this piece. So this is a mat, and then on top of that, I am putting a layer. So just for something a little bit different. So I'll glue this down. I think I've made a few navy and pink cards for my daughter, but they're the colours she likes, so I just stick with, you know, the same thing. And then there's no question of whether, you know, she'll like it or, and so there's that piece. And then, as mentioned, I'm going to put one of my layers on here, like so. And just, so I've tried to coordinate the colours a little bit. So there's basically the front of our card. So we've got a floral piece with our glossy accents, an embossed piece. Now I could do it that way. I'm not sure yet which way I'll do it. Probably that way. And then inside, it's basically repeat. So here is the inside of my card. That's going now. The pieces between here are 4 inches. So what I've done is I've just made this a little bit narrower than 4 pieces. So it was started off as a 4-inch by 7-inch piece of card, and I've just taken an edge off and an edge off, just so that when the card folds over, it's not sitting in the creases. Just making sure I get the glue right out to the edges. Putting this inside. And again, so on the outside I've put the navy blue and the pink, but inside I'm just using 2 pink pieces. So just make sure I've got them the right way. So that's going to be the inside of my card. So it's again, it might be classed as a fun fold card or a fancy card, but really it doesn't take any time to put together. And that's how most of the cards that Stephanie, Tammy and I have been creating, they've got some fun element to them, but they're not very hard to make at all. It's more around the cutting. And as I said, I've just used my cutting machine for this I designed the template, then worked out So what I did for anyone that would like to create something like this, I worked out what this part needed to be, the measurements, and then I went in and basically divided it into the 3 sections. And then on this piece, I just did an internal offset. I think it was 0.075, which gave me my mat. And then I did a further internal offset and another 0.075, which created, and that's where I got my mats and layers from. So I use Silhouette software. I find it the easiest to use. But anyway, I've created an SVG with it, so you don't have to do the engineering. But if that's, if it is something that you're interested in doing, reach out to Tammy, myself, Stephanie. We'll see if we can help you. But I use the internal offsets a lot for things like this when I'm trying to design something. The original part, the white part, was probably the hardest to work out. But once I got that going, it's just basically an internal offset and setting it for what level you like. So over here, so there's nearly there. And I've got my other, I'm not even sure what shape this would be called. So it's got 4 sides. And I know that I can speak for Tammy and myself. We enjoy using the Silhouette software to create things. So, there might be something that you're struggling with. We'd love to be able to help if we can. So there's so far the inside of our card. We might, I think it'll go that way when we finish. And now for the inside. So actually, before we do that, I might put on the back, I've got my sentiment already printed. It says, let's make a perfect birthday that is just right for you. Fill it with friends and family. Fill it with laughter too. For just one day out of the year is yours and yours alone. So let's make these 24 hours the best you've ever known. And I'm just putting that on the back, and then I will write my own words on it once I'm ready to, give it to my daughter. Yep. Had to just think then what I was doing. And there's the back of the card. Okay, so now we've got our outside and our inside. Now, this here I created also. So this is, my daughter likes gin. It says happy birthday. She's turning 39, and I've put some foam tape on the back, and I might just add one more piece actually looking at it so that the neck of the bottle doesn't sag when it's on the card. This is going inside, so I might just turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So I picked up the flowers from here and created some floral papers. It's not quite centered. I might have stuck it down. It might just have to leave it for now. So there's the inside of our card. So we've got so that's what it's going to look like. You can see the bottle, but I think it leaves a little bit of intrigue as to, what's in there. I could have made a smaller bottle, but I wanted that size bottle to fill the inside. As I said, it says happy birthday and 39. and it's a really quick and simple card. It's got the embossing, and on the back it's got the sentiment. Now, I did have a spare piece left over when I was cutting. I hadn't thought about doing the embossing, so I actually made one for there, but I'm going to leave it off because I think that just adds a little bit of extra texture and everything. So it ends up being a 4 by 7 inch card. I will have to make my own envelope, which I will link up in the description so that we can, if you haven't made one of our envelopes yet. And now the belly band is going to go around this just so that it helps it close down. And I've got a piece that this is going on the front of the belly band. So again, I've used the same flowers. I've just shrunk them down. So this was upscaled, and this is actually, these flowers are actually at the right size, but I upscaled that to make them bigger. So it'll sit on the front of the card. And then I also have, for Jackie, that's my daughter's name, with love, which is going to go probably down here, I think. Let's have a look how that looks. Yep, so it's also not quite dry at the moment because I didn't do these glossy accents at the same time, so I've got to be very careful. So again, I've just put some glossy accents on the flower centers, and then that's going to be the front of the card. So for the belly band, I need to work out roughly, so this is 4 inches, so I should be at, this is 12, so I should be able to do some scoring at, let's have a look. I think I should be able to do some scoring at 4s, and then there'll be overlap. So let's just score at 4. Yep, that way. Score at 4. Score at 8. So that should hold, and I probably should have gone out a little bit further because let's just see, one there. Yeah, I probably should have gone out to 4. So it'll be 1 less than 4, which is 3 7/8, and then 1 more than 8, which would be 8 1/8, and that will give me room to bend the band over. So let's see how we go. So we're going with the 8 1/8, and I'll probably chop some of these ends off, we'll see, and the 3 7/8. Let's have a look how that looks. Got glue everywhere today. So that's a bit better. So if we went over and over, because we've got to be able to lift it on and off. Yep, that's pretty good. And then I might just trim these edges off because I don't want, and even though I've said to be careful of the, they're not too bad. Yeah, I will definitely trim some off the edges. I think belly bands are just I don't think there's any real science to them. I'm just going to cut some off there and make sure we don't, and probably a little bit there. And then we've still got that overlapping like so. And it's always best to put the join at the front where you're going, if you've got something that's going to go over it like that, so it hides it. So because then on the back you've got a clear piece. So let's just put some glue on there while that dries a little bit further. So I want to go no further than, with my glue, lost my pencil, so I want to go no further than that line there. Need to fill my glue bottle up again. Boy, I go through some glue. Now this needs to be held quite firmly, so I find it easier if I just place it down and then lift it up but hold it in place so that I'm not gluing it to the base of this. So I'm just trying to keep it like so, and just hold it in place and try not to get any glue under there, otherwise it'll stick to the card. So I'm just holding it in place, and then I'm going to put this on top, and I haven't decided yet if I will use some foam stickers or just glue. I'll decide that in a moment. Now, I also find it, other people work in different ways, I also find it much easier to put the belly band on and then attach the middle piece. And I don't think I've left, yes I have, there we go. Then attach my design on top. So, I think I might use some foam dots. So I'm going to put the dots on this and then attach that. So let's just quite close together. And one more. So we've got 4 dots, 4 foam tapes. Okay, so there's our card. I'll try not to touch this too much. And just want to make sure it's fairly central with keeping everything inside the... There we go. So there is a birthday card that says "For Jackie with love." Which way am I going? This way. And you can see, and then it's got the belly band, and it stands up like so. It can stand up quite open, depends how she wants to display it. It's got the flowers, the embossing, the gin bottle, and the sentiment on the back. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I enjoyed making it. It's a very quick and simple card, but I think very effective, especially with the belly band. And that is now ready for me to give to her birthday, which I'm sure she will think it's pretty special. And there's the finished product. Thank you for watching, and if you like what you saw, please give us a like. Consider subscribing to our channel. We're trying to bring you some different things. You may have seen them in other formats. Really all it comes down to is the decoration sometimes of something. But there's our card. Thanks for watching. Happy crafting, and take care till next time.